Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Marissa, and on this channel we talk about all things Disney. So if you like Disney, please consider sticking around, subscribing, liking, and pressing that bell notification so you know every time that I post. I wanted to start this video kind of off at the computer because I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about my Disney college program today. So like I said in my introduction, I am a former Disney cast member. I did the Disney college program in 2014, January 2014 to August 2014. I did the Spring Advantage program, and I worked in Frontierland in merchandise. So I am really excited to kind of explain some of the Disney lingo today. I thought the best way to show you what my experience was like on the college program would be to show you a video we actually made. I didn't even remember we made it until I was driving in the car, thinking about how I wanted to explain to you guys what it's like working for Disney, and it hit me. We actually filmed a parody music video towards the end of our program. So during the end of our program, my friends who worked in Frontierland with me made a parody off of the song I'm So Fancy, and they did I'm So Disney, and I got to just be an extra in their little music video that they created. And I looked on YouTube. I mean, it's been 7 years since I did my college program, and it has almost 10,000 views. I was actually pretty shocked. I knew when we left, our managers were actually showing it to future people working in Frontierland, kind of like as an experience that y'all get to do on the college program. So I thought it would be a great video to kind of show you, and I'm going to stop it and explain the different verbiage that is being used because it has a lot of Disney insider information that cast members use. Thought that might be a fun way to kind of introduce some Disney lingo as well as spill some Disney tea about the various aspects of working at Disney. And I will link the whole video down below in the description bar, and I will make sure that you can watch it in its entirety because I will be stopping the video and explaining stuff so it won't flow as nicely as if you were watching the whole thing. And so yeah, I'll leave that link down below, and if you have any questions for me or want to know more about the Disney College program and how you can apply and everything like that, let me know, because this video is not going to talk so much about how to apply. It's just more so the inside experience, but I'm more than happy to make a video on kind of the steps to go about applying if you're interested in that. Okay, so we're going to get into that video. Okay, so here we go.
First things first, we some CPs.
So CP is obviously college person or college program. It's also funny because you learn when you're on the college program that CP also stands for closing person. Our typical hours for working at Disney, I would start shifts sometimes around 5:30 p.m. and get off around 2:45 a.m. That's a pretty typical shift. And so you get used to that kind of sleep schedule, which is so funny because I'm exhausted now if I don't go to bed by 10. And so it amazes me that I was able to stay up till 2:45, 3:45 back in the college program, because now I can't do that anymore, obviously. But it was a lot of fun because even after our shifts, we would go to places like Denny's and IHOP and go grab food, and we would all kind of hang out, even though it was already like 3 o'clock in the morning. We'd hang out, eat, go back to our program housing and sleep, and then wake up, do the same thing the next day. You get used to the schedule. It was definitely a very interesting schedule, but I kind of really liked it because you have the day to yourself to kind of relax and do things you needed to do, and then you kind of work through the night, which was very interesting. Also, fun fact, so Magic Kingdom obviously has probably some of the latest hours around. It was not untypical for the park to close at 12 a.m., 1 a.m. The interesting fact about that is if you actually worked on Main Street at the Emporium, you were there in an additional hour. So the store was open an additional hour after closing. So if the park closed at 1, Main Street's open till 2 a.m. And then you have to close the store, which typically takes about an hour and 45 minutes to kind of close everything. Your manager has to walk through the store. So it does take a while to close down a shop. And then you have the opening person that actually comes in around 4:45 in the morning. So really there's no gap in time between when somebody's leaving Disney and when somebody's coming in to kind of open Disney, which is kind of interesting to know. They do a lot of the parade testing at night too. So sometimes when it was really late and we were getting ready to head out, we could see, especially Festival of Fantasy, that was just coming out when I was starting my college program. That came out in March, and I started my college program in January. So during that 2-month gap, they were actually practicing Festival of Fantasy at night. And so you could see the dancers and the parade floats and everything like that. Like we got to see the dragon blow fire before any of the guests knew that the dragon blew fire. So that was kind of cool and just kind of fun.
Gotta go and use those 4 keys. And
so there are 4 keys that we learn about in Disney tradition. So to rewind a little bit, the process of getting accepted to Disney, everybody goes through a traditions class once they get there. And the traditions class is basically a half-day event. You either go in the morning or in the afternoon. I think I was the afternoon class because I remember being starving by the end of it. I was so hungry. But it's a half-day event, and you dress like Disney business casual, so you have to dress up kind of nicely, and it's a lot of learning about the Disney way of doing things. So they have 4 keys. Disney is very smart. They break everything up. So you have safety, efficiency, courtesy, and show. So safety is obviously the most important factor at Disney. There was a saying on our college program that safety begins with me. So they're always, very protective of what could happen if something were to go wrong. So Disney makes sure that they can try to prevent that any way possible. So they have the 4 keys in place, and safety is obviously one of them. Courtesy, obviously, be nice to your fellow cast members, be nice to the guests. It's kind of goes without explaining that that's an important aspect of Disney. The guest interactions with cast members is really important. That can make or break, an experience for a guest. And then show. So you want to make sure that your area is themed, obviously. So we were Frontierland, so we made sure that we had to, we made sure that we greeted everybody like howdy, and kind of stuck to the theming of our area and wore our costumes, obviously, and they were very particular about our costumes. We had to wear black pantyhose and like a specific type of black shoe. And they're very specific about that. When you get to Disney, they'll kind of tell you what you need, but they provide a lot of the costuming for you. And then obviously efficiency. There's a lot of people that go to Disney, so they want to make sure that they can efficiently kind of operate. So those are the 4 keys.
I'm still in the magic business. Anytime you need us, we're there like Jiminy Cricket. You should go in Disney Point like this. Drop it low in Disney Scoop just like this.
So just like I was saying before about traditions, you also learn that there's a correct way to point at Disney. You use your 2 fingers or an open hand, because obviously in some cultures it's rude to point with 1 hand. So open hand or 2 fingers is the Disney point. Disney Scoop was kind of dropping it low and not bending over so that you don't hurt your back. Again, that's all part of the safety. They want to make sure that their cast members are safe. They're not injuring themselves on the job, so they teach you how to kind of bend, pick up a box instead of, bending over and using your back to pick up a box.
Magic Kingdom, Watch Place, Sunshine State, extra tragic hour, so we working late.
So, extra magic hours, most people know. Cast members sometimes refer to them as extra tragic hours. So they have extra tragic hours for most theme parks. Obviously now I don't think they're doing anything in terms of extra magic hours because of the pandemic. But before extra magic hours, you add an hour on to the park. So you're there an extra hour. So if it was supposed to close at 1, guess who's staying at a resort can stay till 2. So that's a very long time. Also, though, there were surprise extra magic hours. So sometimes if the park had reached capacity, specifically in the summer, they would announce over the loudspeakers that Magic Kingdom's open an extra hour later, and we all just got extended. We weren't asked if we could stay an extra hour later. It was just everybody's getting extended tonight. So that was definitely something that you should know if you're going to work at Disney. It's kind of like, okay, you're there and you're there to work. So it's really important to know that you can't really bank on getting out at a certain time because they could extend park hours and you're there an extra hour past what you were scheduled for.
Make your land, you're straight, gotta trade that. Here you go, princess, don't forget your pin bag.
So this is a good, this is what we wore. So we had a blue and white like striped shirt and then a blue skirt. Probably one of the better costumes. If you worked at Animal Kingdom, I'm sorry for you because those costumes are hideous. And I was so happy I didn't have to wear pants. I liked the little skirt. You did have to wear black tights and black shoes. It's all part of the Disney look. And also part of the Disney look for merchandise was a pin lanyard, which we could trade with guests. So if you really like pin trading in the parks, cast members are always encouraged to trade pins with guests. And all the pins were actually provided to us. Down in the utilidors, in the tunnels of Magic Kingdom, there's actually a station that was a pin refresher station. So you could go there and trade in, I think, like 2 or 3 pins a day to get better pins so that you can trade them with guests. And that was part of our costuming. So we were issued a pin lanyard, and we were able to go down and get new pins, like different like cast member exclusive hidden Mickey pins for our guests so that when they came up, they could trade with us. Also, what was really cool about merchandise in Frontierland is you get assigned stations and you get rotated out of those stations every so often. But one of the tasks would be to merchantain with the guests. So you could grab a stuffed animal, walk around, say hi to guests, or you can wave bye to guests with that big Mickey hand, or you can pin trade with guests. So they were always encouraging guest interaction. Pin trading was obviously a great way to kind of get that guest interaction. And it's fun. You get to kind of look at the different pins and get to trade, and you could have mystery pins so you could turn them around on the back so that a guest couldn't see it. But if they wanted a mystery pin, you can give it to them and they would be surprised as to what they got. So it was one of the cool things about working in merchandise.
3 o'clock, man, where's the parade at? Main Street and Furlands, where it be?
So the biggest question as a cast member that we got is, what time is the 3 o'clock parade? Yeah. The 3 o'clock parade is at 3 o'clock. Festival of Fantasy, when it starts at 3 o'clock, but it starts in Frontierland. And so it comes from Frontierland around the hub down Main Street. So if you're at Main Street, it's not getting to you till like 3:30 time frame. But it starts at 3 o'clock and it starts in Frontierland.
Yeah.
I'm so Disney. Towards space we go on the speedway. Then I'm headed to Pinocchio's. I'm so Disney. We gotta keep good show. Remember my name. I'm Chris from Orlando.
So, like in the song, it says, I'm Chris from Orlando. So part of the Disney show and our costuming was a name tag. So our name badge had our name, and for the college program, it tells you what college we went to, or you could get your hometown depending on what you wanted. If you forgot your name tag, you technically forgot part of your costuming and you're not in proper show, so you can't be up on stage, is what it's called, on stage in front of guests because you don't have your name tag. Well, obviously they don't want you to go home and come back. So they have name tags for you to borrow, but they're all Chris from Orlando. So if you see somebody that says Chris from Orlando, you might want to ask them what their name is and where they're from because they're probably not wearing their correct name tag. And so that's just a little thing to keep your eyes out in the park. If you see somebody with Chris from Orlando, you just know that they forgot their name tag that day. It happens to all of us. I think I was Chris from Orlando at least 4 or 5 times on the program. But yeah, that's just a little fun fact.
I said, Disney, don't do this. I hope we get through this. Can't handle these tour groups, and that's what the truth is. We work the hardest, can't act the thought.
So, tour groups. Obviously, people know that Disney's a place for, tour groups, cheerleading competitions, big events. They come to Disney World. So they actually give us little pamphlets depending on the season about how to handle certain big groups. I just remember working in Frontierland. One of the jobs was to hand out samples of fudge. So I was outside, and all of a sudden I see this tour group just swarm my way to get free samples of fudge, and it's literally like a mob of people coming around and kind of they're on you. So they kind of teach you how to handle big groups of people and kind of what to expect and how to communicate with them if there's an issue or something's going on. So the tour groups, I'm sure you've seen them in the park. It's definitely different to handle than, a family. So they kind of prepare you for that during training. And as well, they'll give you little pamphlets that you can keep in your pocket explaining how to handle certain situations.
Project swagger on goofy in a rundown apartment. Gotta stay on my grind.
For this line, as many of you might know, the Disney College program also offers you housing. So was 3 different places you could live at on my program. That has since changed, and they kind of condensed it to one housing program, and none of the 3 housing programs exist anymore, which is kind of sad. So there was Vista Way, Chatham Square, and Patterson Court. And I stayed in Chatham, and a lot of my friends actually stayed in Vista. So when they say rundown apartment, Vista was old, was very old. I mean, can't complain because they provide all of the beds, all of the, silverware, plates, everything for the kitchen, everything, couches. They provide everything but like TVs and internet routers. And so those are some things that we had to provide, but dressers, all of that was provided for us. So it was kind of getting old. It's kind of funny to see what's happened at Vista Way. It's kind of sad that they've gotten rid of the apartments because it was kind of cool, like going to your friend's place at Patterson or like, having the experience of Vista and hanging out with your friends there. That was kind of a cool experience. But the Flamingo apartments, I've seen them on YouTube at least, and they're gorgeous. So I'm very jealous. And they have single rooms, which I'm very jealous about. The rooms in Chatham, when I was there, we had 2 people per room, and we lived in a 3-bedroom. So there were 6 girls in this apartment. And it was kind of a mid-level price we were paying. So Disney takes money out of your paycheck to live there. I do not remember how much they took out. I think it was like $200 some to live in Chatham, and they just took it out of your paycheck. At Disney, you were paid every week. Epcot, our acronym for it for cast members is actually every paycheck comes on Thursday. So every Thursday you were paid. And so they just took the money right out from your paycheck. So you never saw that money. And yeah, so they provided housing and transport, which I'll talk about in just a second.
Gotta clock in on time. Gonna be late. TransStar's running behind.
So TransStar was a transportation that they provided, that Disney provided. So they were buses that left to go to the various work locations, resorts, Blizzard Beach, Typhoon Lagoon, as well as the parks. And so TransStar caught on fire a lot. There were many bus fires when I was a CP there. Luckily, I brought my car down. So you can bring your car down as a college program participant. I brought my car down. My mom and I actually took the auto train from Lorton, Virginia to a place outside of Orlando, maybe like a 45-minute commute from Orlando. And I just drove, the car just got loaded on there, and we just drove from that place to Orlando to check in. And so it was super easy. Highly recommend if you can bring a car to the college program, bring a car. It's just so much easier. You can get around a lot faster, and you don't have to worry about your bus blowing up. Because that happened more often than I'd like to admit. But if TransStar was running late, or you got into some kind of weird freak accident with TransStar, you could find a leader to kind of clock you in. So at Disney, they are very strict. You clock in on a computer. If you are 1 second late on that computer, you get half a point. If you were more than 30 minutes late, you get a full point. I believe it's 4 points gets you either 3 or 4 points, gets you written up. And you can have like 3 write-ups before you get fired. And the points drop after X number of days not being written up. But they are pretty strict. Like, it's a computer clocking you in. So if something goes wrong, you do have to get a manager to kind of override everything. If you call out of work, that's a point. Like, even unless you're sick, the doctor's note will get you out of that point. But if you clock in because you're just not feeling it that day, you get a point. And if you clock in, if you don't clock in and you don't go to work, you cannot go to the parks. You can't just be like, oh, I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to go to the parks instead. That will get you fired. Or termed. We call it getting termed. You will get termed if you go to the parks and you had called out. Don't do that.
Get on time, now I can't get a sign. Now I'm running around till it's a leader I find. Now tell me who that, do that. Put the magic overall, I thought you knew that. MICKEY, he makes a magic glow. It's been a frozen summer, time to let it go. I said,
so I did my college program January 2014 to August 2014. So I did the Spring Advantage program. So there was a few different kinds of programs that were offered at Disney. You could do the Spring Advantage program, which was from January to August. You could do Fall Advantage, which started, I think, like June or July to December, January timeframe. And then you could do just Spring, which is January to May, or just Fall, which I believe is like August, September to December. So Advantage basically meant that you were working through the summer. So that's what I did. I wanted to work through the summer. So I did Spring Advantage, and I really enjoyed, being able to spend those 8 months there. It's definitely enough. By the time it was my turn to leave, I was ready. It's ready to kind of start a new adventure, but it was definitely a fun experience. And I highly, highly recommend it to anybody who has the opportunity to do it, because it will drastically change your life. I learned so much about myself on the program, the good and bad and ugly. It was definitely hard at times, but it was so rewarding, and I definitely developed from it and felt like I learned a lot about myself and my work ethic, and kind of just being able to create friendships with people from various countries was awesome. Like one of the girls I worked with was from New Zealand, and one of them was from England, and some were from Mexico. And I think it was a great opportunity to kind of meet and bond with people from all over the world. So highly, highly recommend that experience. But right before Spring Advantage actually started, that November, Frozen came out. That was huge. Frozen was huge during my program. They had just come out in the parks. The movie had just come out in November. I had no idea that the movie existed. I thought it was about some reindeer. And all of a sudden, I went to see the movie, and it was so good. I loved Frozen. But then all of a sudden, you're waiting 5 hours to see Anna and Elsa, and that was ridiculous. Actually, one of my good friends on the college program worked in Fantasyland doing attractions for Fantasyland, so Small World, Peter Pan, and also hosting Anna and Elsa at the Princess Fairytale Hall. So if she was working, she could actually get us into the back. So I may have snuck in to see Anna and Elsa a few times, and went through the fast pass line without a fast pass, but hey.
I'm so Disney. Towards space we go on the speedway. Then I'm headed to Pinocchio's, and I'm so Disney. We gotta keep good show to crossover lanes. To the tunnels we go.
So the tunnels are obviously the utilidors. It's the first floor of Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom's actually built on the second floor. So when you're a cast member at Magic Kingdom, you actually park in a parking lot called West Clock, and that's towards the back of Magic Kingdom. And so you park there, and a bus will transport you back to the back of the Utilidors. That's kind of right where the Beauty and the Beast Be Our Guest restaurant is. So a lot of times you could see like Gaston walking backstage or the Beast walking backstage because they were getting off a set. And you would go under, and then it would kind of direct you to the different lands. Something pretty cool about the Utilidors is you see all types of people. You see the characters, and that's pretty awesome. But they also have what they call a mascateria. And so when you're on break, you can go down to the mascateria and you can eat lunch, dinner, or whatever time it was. And they were open. And they had like a Subway and different various fresh food options for you to eat while you were there, which is kind of cool.
Cue the thunder. Time for Splash to go 101.
So one of the things we really wanted as cast members, if it was a very hard day, and we were working up at Splash Mountain, was for Splash to go 101. So 101 means that the ride goes down. And so when the ride goes down, people aren't coming to get photos. That was one of our jobs, was to give photos out to guests as well as be in the merchandise store. But if nobody was coming through the exit of Splash Mountain, not many people were going into the gift store of Splash Mountain. So it was really dead and quiet, and you can kind of catch your breath for a second. So that's something that we really wanted, was Splash to go 101. Also, if Splash goes 101 and you're on the ride, we can give out fast passes to the people who got stuck on the ride. So we would always give out fast passes for different, it kind of was like a all-inclusive fast pass, so you could use it at any of the rides that you wanted.
Make the phone call. Won't go to Pirates, know what we want. Guests keep filling it up. Reaching capacity, they're tearing it up. The plush wall is completely messed up. Sold out of ponchos, I'm sorry, good luck.
Happy trails.
So the plush wall was one of the things that was the absolute worst to keep track of. So it had to be meticulous at the end of the night. Like, all plush's hands crossed, all plush's legs crossed. So whoever had to do the plush wall at night got the bad end of the stick, because, I mean, nobody wants to sit there and just fold animals. Old plush's hands the whole night. That was not a task anybody wanted to be assigned. So we tried to do it throughout the day, but if Splash went 101, the people who were in Splash Mountain's gift shop went down to the other gift shop, which is the Briar Patch, and so that place would get crowded. So sometimes if Splash went 101, we would have to go down there and kind of merchantain guests. Usually Splash would go 101 if it was raining, and so obviously everybody hides when it rains, so Briar Patch would be packed full of people, and we would just be handing out ponchos like crazy, or people would be buying ponchos like crazy. Do not buy ponchos at Disney. They are like $17. Do not buy them from Disney. Buy them before you come, just in case it rains. I mean, if you're coming in the summer, know it will rain at some point during the day, usually 3 o'clock. But do not buy ponchos at Disney. They are so expensive. $17 for a poncho, no thank you. Don't do it.
Watching Wishes, gotta love that.
I just talk about Wishes because I have not seen Happily Ever After, but Wishes has a very special place in my heart, because if you're in Frontierland at night, which I was most nights, you can see the fireworks every night, and not many people are coming into the gift shop during the fireworks. So we would go out on the front porch in Frontierland and we would watch the fireworks almost every night. So that was a very special experience, being able to work in Frontierland, because you could see them. And we would know, I knew all the words to Wishes, and we would go out and sometimes do interpretive dancing, entertain guests that were out there watching the fireworks. So Wishes has a very special place in my heart. So I can't judge it though. I can't judge Happily Ever After though, because I haven't seen it. That's one thing that's on my to-do list, is to see it. Because the past few years we've been at Disney, it's been during the holidays, so they've had other fireworks shows. They're special, like holiday fireworks, and obviously this year they didn't have any fireworks, so I have not seen Happily Ever After. I'm excited to see it though.
Gonna miss it all when we gotta go back. New friends, great memories, can't replace that. Looking at a DCP live, you can't top that. Hit the parks for free, and you know we like it.
You can go to the parks for free. We, as cast members, we weren't blacked out much. If the park was at capacity or a holiday, we would probably be blacked out of Magic Kingdom mostly, sometimes Hollywood. But typically you could still go to other parks. And if you worked that night and you got off early, you could just stay in the park. So, I mean, they can't really track you down. So yeah, one of the best things about working for Disney is you get to go to Disney almost every day, which was awesome. And you also have guest passes, so I could get my family members in. And I think you had like 6, 7 days and 4 guest passes, so you could go a lot with your family members. So my mom came down to visit me quite a bit when I was on my college program, and then my dad and my brother came down to see me at least once. So that's nice because I never felt really like I was away from home because I just had so many people come to visit me, which is a good thing.
Yeah, Mickey's the best boss.
But also, if you meet Donald, you can ask him to shake his tail feather. Highly recommend doing it.
Ain't no doubt about it. And we won't forget the magic. Going out strong and we out here screaming like
I'm so Disney. Towards space we go on the speedway. Then I'm headed to Pinocchio's. I'm so Disney. We gotta go back home. Make one last wish. To Neverland we go.
who that, M-I-C-K-A-Y. Do that, M-I-C-K-A-Y. Who that, M-I-C-K-A-y.
Whoa, 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 oh, oh.
Who that, M-I-C-K-A-Y. Do that, M-I-C-K-A-y. Who that, M-I-C-K-A-y.
Whoa, 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 oh, oh.
But yeah, I'll leave the full video link down below. So if you want to watch the full video, please do. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you didn't see my last video, I'll have it up here. It was about how to plan your dream Disney wedding and how to get started with that. Of course, I'll have more videos in that series. But again, I'd love some feedback. I'd love to know what you guys want to see, what you're liking about the videos, what you want me to change about the videos. I am open to anything. I just really want to make content that you guys like. Again, so check out that video. I'll also have my little introduction video here as well. If you want to learn a little bit more about me, feel free to click the link. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.